what's up, everybody? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'll be talking to multi-platinum singer-songwriter and recording artist Alec Benjamin. Let's go.
Smoking on piff, that's my kind. I don't want no bad times. I don't want to have bad.
Anyways, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Very cool to see all the memorabilia and stuff. I remember one of the first CDs I ever got was one of your guys' CDs.
Which one?
It had the anthem on it.
Yeah.
And,
Young and the Helpless?
Young and the Helpless, yeah.
That's fun. That's cool.
I know all the songs in there by heart.
Really?
So yeah, I never knew. It was like a burned CD.
Yeah.
So I never knew the title. I just knew, like, when I think about like, I remember my babysitter Angela had it, and it was like, this is like, it had like Angela's CD on top of it, and I took it from her because I wasn't even allowed to like have CDs and stuff. And so
really?
I mean, like, I don't know, my parents wanted to listen to everything that I was listening to. I didn't want them to know, so they probably would have approved. But
that was the era for burning CDs.
Yes, it was.
And like mixed CDs. And
I was in second grade.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah. I remember like walking to the supermarket, listening to your guys' music and everything.
God, you're young.
And then I love the record that you guys did with M Shadows and
The River.
Yeah, I remember I Just Wanna Live.
Yeah, I Just Wanna Live. That was on our third record.
So good. And then I remember like my my cousin Sarah, she had what's the going out to forget
Dance Floor Anthem.
That was her MySpace profile song
classic.
long. Yeah,
classic MySpace era.
Yeah,
that was the era.
Yeah, but you guys have so many great songs. I was listening to on the way here, and I was like, man, there's so many
throwbacks.
Songs. Yeah,
you actually know a good span of the whole catalog.
I'm like actually a fan.
That's awesome. Man.
I know that. Like, I know sometimes people be like, oh, I like your music, but I actually like really know all the words. And
amazing.
Everything. Yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
But I never got the opportunity to see you guys perform live.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, we don't do that much. We don't perform that much anymore.
Are there any plans to do anything like that in the future?
We're talking about it. I think we're talking about it. We're trying to figure out. We're gonna make some music.
Okay, cool.
It's been a while, so we're gonna see what that.
Are you gonna work with John Feldman again?
No, we're gonna do it with Jordan Fish, who's an amazing producer. Zach Cervini, who's
I know Zach.
Zach is awesome, and Matt Coma.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Matt's awesome too.
Yeah, we're gonna mix it up and like make it with our friends because we're friends with all those guys.
Okay.
And then we'll see what comes from it. And then that'll dictate the plans because we want to tour, but like we all have families, so it's a little hard to like commit. We tried to put together a tour for this year, and it didn't work because of like our wives had work that came up,
right? And
like plans fell apart real fast with family stuff. But like now we're like looking at like 2025, and we're going like if we block out like 2 months and do like a world tour, we could probably get to all the cities that we love.
Do you want to make your record first before you?
At least, yeah. And whether we do like a record, we're kind of thinking about like how do we even want to put music out? Do we just want to drop a song at a time?
Yeah.
And just do like 10 songs. And then maybe that's a record, or maybe it's just 10 songs that are all exist on their own.
I feel like it's a free for all now. There's like so many different ways to release music. It's actually kind of overwhelming because it's like there's too many options, and it's like I like it when I don't really get to choose, or I have like a couple of choices, and I feel like that's easier to be creative when you're limited, because then you can sort of like, I don't know, it's at least you know where to start. Now it's like you can kind of do anything. So.
Well, I feel like you're one of those artists that you've been around a long enough to know what you're doing.
I feel like I don't know what I'm doing at all.
Because I feel like you know the modern. When I look at you, I look at you like you feel like a modern artist to me. Like,
okay,
but you didn't get started yesterday,
right?
Right. So, when was your first would you say first release?
My first release.
2016.
Yeah,
2018.
I guess so I had a record deal when I first moved to California, and I put out one song in 2014, but then I got dropped, and then the song got taken down and stuff. So I guess my first release, my first major label release was 2018. But I was dropping songs before that. So
Right.
I guess like but I wasn't even really allowed to be dropping the songs that I was at the time because I had a re-record policy on a lot of songs I had made while I was signed to Columbia. And then I just did it anyways because I was like, fuck
Good.
it, you know, what are they going to sue me?
Yeah. What are they going to do? They're an artist company. They're going to sue an artist.
Yeah. So
Like I always tell artists, like, look, unless it's egregious and you're like you're trying to actually damage them, which you're not. But other than that, I wouldn't worry too much about a major label suing you, because the last thing a major label wants to do when they're saying, hey, this is a good place for you to sign, we take care of artists here,
Right.
is to be out there suing artists.
Ultimately,
the worst thing ever.
Yeah, they were cool about it
Yeah,
anyways, and I ultimately
imagine.
ended up getting the masters back when I signed my new deal. But yeah, so I've
that's
kind of
good.
I've been releasing music for a little bit, but
So 10 years, really.
yeah, about
Even
10
though
years.
it was a false start in 2014,
Yeah.
still counts.
Maybe about 10 or 11 years.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
A decade of focused work. It's like you've gotten a master's degree in making and recording and releasing music, right?
Right.
So you spend that long in college learning how to do anything else. And the only
I
college,
spent about 6 months in college. And I was
right?
out
So,
of there.
so
Yeah.
other people could go to college for 10 years to become the highest level and ready for, you know, medicine or science or any of those kind of, if we look at, when we think of like careers, right? Like the typical idea of like what we're kind of taught in school, what a career is. If you could look at your work of 10 years of in the music business, you've gotten like a degree at the highest level and you've had success at the highest level, right? Maybe not to you. Maybe you're like probably like me. I'm always going to be looking up and
that's
trying.
what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm like,
right?
I still want it.
Yeah, keep reaching and striving for greater levels of whatever that success feels like to you. But like, I would say you to me are like the modern established artist who has a real good sense of what it means to make and release music in this modern world and how it's done. It's not linear. It's all over the place. You're looking after digital, which is like your TikTok and your Instagram and your all that stuff as like a marketing and distribution, right? I get the sense that if you wanted to write a song and release it, you'd probably do that too. If on a whim, if you were like, this song, I put a record out, I'm touring, doing whatever, but then I just went in and I wrote this song and I recorded it. Let's drop it. All right, here's the plan. We're going to drop it, you know, in the next month. And you kind of know how to do that.
That's what I think I'm gonna do now, like moving forward, but I think that, you know, I got so scared. Kind of what I saw when I was signed to my first deal was like, okay, like if your first release doesn't work, then like you're not going to get the budgets, and that's what I saw, and then I kind of ended up getting shelved. So when I got my second deal, I don't think that's what the label would have done, but I was like, this first song has got to work, you know. So I wrote a million songs, and I was like, okay, like, but and it actually did work. And then after that, I got like kind of scared to just sort of like release music whenever, and I wanted to replicate that on every release, and it's not possible.
It's not.
And I think only now, like 5 or 6 years later, I'm starting to be like, okay, whatever happens. I'm just gonna start releasing music more quickly, because I feel like also now too, like having a regular cadence is and being consistent is more important than just doing the perfect thing every time you release a song or a record. And now it's like you can put out music whenever. And also too, it's not the most important thing, I think, that people hear it right away, because it's going to exist forever online. So if people aren't ready for it now, or it's not the right thing, maybe they will be in a year, or maybe not. But I've had some songs where it's kind of like, oh, I thought this was going to do better, and then like 3-4 years later it streams more.
Right, pops out.
Yeah, that's a tool I can use when I put out a song and it doesn't do well. I go, people just don't get it yet, you know.
Yeah, let it live. But that's a modern strategy. It's a consistent release schedule, so that you build a relationship with an audience that's coming back for that music. But you also have fans now. So like where 10 years ago you could say you were at the beginning of building your fan base.
Right.
You have fans now. So some songs may break through to the larger audience of like the everyday people who hear your song in a store or wherever. So it's a less engaged audience, still important audience, but then you have your fans who will appreciate that song that they feel like is just for them.
Yeah. Sometimes I miss both completely, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta just do the next song. Sorry, that was a joke. I was just kidding.
Or that was,
I didn't mean that song.
That was for me. Sometimes you just do one for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and you categorize them. I always try to, not to say always like we release music all the time, but at this age, I've had a lot of time to meditate on it because we haven't released music a lot in the last 10 years. To go, if we get back into a cycle of releasing a lot of music, which we might, you know, I don't know. I would be like, this one's for me, or this one's for the fans, or this one I want to get after it, and I want this one to be like a big rock song for everyone.
Do you have anxiety before you go in and make a record? Like, what's your process? What do you guys do?
I don't have any anxiety.
Okay.
At this stage.
I need to be like you.
Well,
I have anxiety all the time. I'm freaking out right now.
I don't know if you do though, because what makes you you is you. So I think like that's what I had to learn was like, is I had to like embrace the idea that I'm just me, and however I am is how I am. And if I can improve some things, usually the things I need to improve are more personal. They're not music. I never really felt conflicted about it.
After you guys like started to have your initial success, did you get like a little bit like, oh,
pressure?
Oh shit. Yeah, like we got to do that again. Like that sucks. How did you deal with that?
We tried to continue to push what people would accept from us. And each time, I remember we did that second record and it was a little bit more like angry, you know? And then the third record, we went a little darker. And when we did that, all the adults were like, oh, you should just do more of that. And we're like, no, we're going to do this. And then it would always take a second for people to grasp it, but like it worked, you know, like that third record was our biggest record in Europe ever. So there were songs that were like popping off in Europe that weren't here, which we were okay with. And then the fourth record, that song Dance Floor Anthem and The River both did really well in America.
I love those songs.
But that was a different vibe. That record was like shinier and it was different. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
That's like one of the first times you did like a feature on the song, right?
Yeah. Which I love features now. I would love to have features. Yeah, I don't know. I think we just tried to be ourselves. We always tried to push people's idea of like what they thought we were. So I don't know if we ever thought we were like a punk band.
Right.
I don't think we ever did.
How many songs do you guys write for an album before, and like how do you pick the songs?
If there's 12 songs on an album, we probably write 18.
Okay. All right.
16, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. You don't, I overthink it. I've wrote like maybe last year I wrote 130 songs.
Crazy.
And I have no idea if any of them are any good. So I just kind of I play them for my mom.
They're probably all pretty good, dude. You're a good songwriter.
There's a fair few of them that are pretty bad, and I play them for my mom after my session. I know because she'll be like, she doesn't ever tell me they're bad, but she'll say if she says it's good, I know that it's not very good. But if she's like, oh, that's a great one, which happens like every 15 songs, and I'm like, okay, I'll keep that one.
Yeah.
Then of those, I play them for people. But every time I make an album, I kind of look back and I'm like, I can't believe I spent that much time on something, and then I listen through to it and I'm like, I have no idea if this is even good. And then you have to put it out.
Have you ever thought about, just as an experiment, writing 10 songs and releasing them?
You know what? I've not thought about it.
Could be cool.
But maybe I should do that.
I don't think you could lose. You could lose. Do you think you're a songwriter first or an artist first?
I would say that I think the most important thing for me on like when I'm writing songs is like perspective. It's just like having like an interesting like or just having like a unique, at least what I would consider to be unique view on something. And then I guess like I have something that I want to say first. So I guess like I don't know what that would mean if I'm an artist or a songwriter first,
right.
But I think that like when I write songs, the only reason I feel compelled to write something is because I feel like I have something that I need to express. So I think I'm just like, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either.
Yeah,
I don't know either.
But I think I like lyrics first. They don't always come first, but it's the most important part for me, because I think the thing that satisfies me the most is like saying what it is that I want to say to people. It's cathartic for me,